have the opportunity, and like you said, some of them do not care. I think that's for a lot of kids, unfortunately, going to school from 8 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon is almost daycare, because it is, and
they're warehousing their kids and expecting somebody to take care of them and do everything else.
You look what happens to a lot of kids on spring break and summer. They no longer have that supervision. It's not because some of their parents don't care; it's because some of their parents have to continue that work schedule to make sure that food is on the table. So again, I think this goes back to shifting what's going to be most important to our success in the future. We have to reinvest in public education. That's not necessarily saying we're just going to push a bunch of money into public education to fix our problems, because we've seen that. I cannot remember the amount of money that we spend per pupil, but it hasn't necessarily worked. I think we need to look at different ways of educating our kids. We can't sit here and say that the way that you were educated, the way that you were educated, the way that I was educated coming up in elementary school is going to continue to work for kids when their environment is consistently and constantly changing.
Joining us tonight is Jason Henry with the Orange County Young Democrats and Keith Knaus, a young Republican. Thanks for coming in, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks
for having me. Thanks for coming in. We are 2 days out. 4 national polls have President Obama and Mitt Romney tied. 4 polls. Is there anything either candidate can do at this point to break away before Tuesday?
Well, it depends. There could be a gaffe. There could be another major event to happen. But as far as what we've seen, I think that's what you're going to get. The national polls have been tight for a pretty good while now. Yeah. But I think if we look at the states polling, that's kind of where the rubber meets the road, especially for President Obama. He's still up in Ohio. He's looking good with Wisconsin, over in Pennsylvania as well, and in Nevada. So if we look at the states polls, Obama's looking pretty good for Tuesday, but nationally, they still seem to be tied.
So, Jason, it seems like you would subscribe to the belief then that whoever takes Ohio is going to take the election?
Absolutely.
All right.
Hey, this is Kevin Sutton Show coming to you live from Clear Channel Studios. Man, in lovely Orlando, Florida. We just had on one of sport writers, Jason Henry, was informing us a little bit about the NBA and how Orlando Magic is so depressed in being the fat chick and Dwight Howard wants to leave us. That was the way you put it, right?
Well, that's the way you put it. I just agree with you.
That was pretty funny, though. And it could be a fat guy, because that was me, and I got left.
There's nothing wrong with that. No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, the Magic are in a transition phase right now. You have Dwight saying that Orlando is no good for him anymore. You have the bloated contracts of Jason Richardson and Hedo Turkoglu, and then you have a point guard that is a good person. He's a good person.
That was nice.
So yeah, he's a good guy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. So I mean, they're just in transition right now. They have a brand new head coach, brand new GM. So I just hope fans are ready for transition. We'll just say that.
See, today I think politics is generally about feel. You have to go out there and touch those people that are suffering. Here in Orlando, the unemployment rate is 10.4%, and Orange County is 10.5%. We have to do something about that now. For today's politicians, you have to go out there and talk to the ones who are suffering, talk to the ones who were just laid off, talk to the ones who were just kicked out of their jobs. Those are the ones that we need to go out and talk to and figure out how can we help these everyday folks get back to work and get back to supporting their family and propping up America. What we need to do is get back to the values that we had before. How are we going to help the little man? With the unemployment rate nationwide, 9.1%, what are we doing for those people? And I think we've lost track of that. That's just not my politics. That's everybody's politics.
What do we need to hear from both of these candidates tomorrow night? That's the big question. And joining us this morning on Good Day to talk about that is Jason Henry from the Orange County Young Democrats and Republican Party expert Marcos Machena. Both of you, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so this is what tickles my funny bone about these two different campaigns. You've got on the one side the president's campaign saying Mitt Romney's a great debater, he's probably going to win, and then on the other side you've got Mitt Romney's campaign saying the president's a good debater, he's probably going to win. What is the psychology that's going on there? Jason, let's start with you.
It's funny because President Obama, we all know, has been long-winded at times. They're working on trying to shorten and tighten his answers, as John said before, but it's going to be crucial for him
to make sure that he lays out a detailed plan, but to also make sure that he looks and remains presidential during these debates. He's going to have Mitt Romney standing across on stage from him, so Romney's going to look like the more presidential person, so to speak, because he's the challenger. For Obama, he just has to remain workmanlike, just as his speech was at the DNC.
Too many people have guns, but it may be a little bit too easy to get a gun. If you go to a gun show, you don't have to go through a background check. I think we need to tighten those restrictions. But as far as the Second Amendment right of Floridians and Americans, I fully support that right, and I fully support the Second Amendment. But we do need to look at tightening the restrictions on how you can purchase a gun.
State Representative.